This will definitely be a worthwhile training. Very worthwhile. Pretty excited about it, actually. Well, Greg with Yandas, and we obviously put the sound system in. I think it was probably 10 years ago almost now. Okay. So the other thing we're going to do too tonight is we're going to do a little bit of EQing and show you all that, and then I want to make sure you understand the show part of it. We can store a show, which is a snapshot of the whole console, and then show you how to recall it and make your own. And then I would highly recommend getting a USB stick and backing up those shows from the console. Because right here, you've got some slots here. The first one is just for power. You can plug your phone in and charge it or whatever. Okay, so the first thing to understand is the layers. Okay, when you're on A, you're on the first 24 inputs of the console. Okay. And they're all labeled. Yep. Okay, unless you've gone in and changed them. Now, do you know how to name your own channel? Has anybody shown you how to name your own channel?
I think you should show us again because it's not clear across the board.
Okay, so what you do, this menu button here is how you can get to home all the time. When it's lit up, you are not home. You are somewhere in the menu. Oh, that's why it lights up. It's a touch panel, okay? So you have to touch the square that you want to get into. So if we're just going to go to mic 1. Do you see how I push the select button?
Yep.
That is very critical to the operation of the console. The select button is the key. That's what got rid of all the other knobs on the console. Like your last console, it had a row of knobs for every, well, we just have one bank of knobs here. You push the select and those knobs control that channel. So select is the key, okay? I'm gonna say that again, select is the key. When I make a mistake, it's because I forgot to push select first. That's why with this console, it would be asking a little bit of the person to run this and the video at the same time, because there's a lot for your brain to process. In a perfect situation, if I were to be in charge of the worship team here, I would try to get it to where you have one guy running this, one guy, gal running that, and I would make them try to sign up for 3-week intervals. Because if I'm only on one Sunday and then I don't get to it again for another 4 or 5 weeks, I'm gonna forget how to run it. It'd be like you preaching one Sunday a month. Probably tough to be in the swing of things on a regular basis or to be on top of your sermons or whatever. It'd be very challenging. If all of a sudden my guitar playing, if all I had was 1 gig a month, in about 3 months I'm gonna get pretty rusty. Because it's muscle memory as well as this. Our hand movements, we gotta memorize and stare at it. Now, once you've run it that way for about a year or two, you may not have to be on it as much. But in the beginning, oh my goodness, as much time as you can spend with this just to get those repetitions down. So again, the select button is the key. Okay. The select button allows you to go into there and change the label. You know, because if I want to change this one, but I don't have this one selected, I'm changing something else. Yeah. The select button always stays lit.
So for example,
it's not an on and off.
It's not, okay.
It's a select.
Okay.
An on and off is green. That's another reason why I love this console. The other consoles, it's a red for mute. This is green, means you're on. If that green isn't lit up, that channel is not on. Sure. Regardless of what you're doing here.
Right.
It's not on right now. I have to do that to turn it on. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. That's the key. Over here, your master volumes, left and right, and this one. This left and right, that has to be on. If I shut that off, you're not sending sound out the master side. Okay? So on is critical, green means you should have that channel on. Okay, select. So let's talk about input. Come over here, I'm gonna have you do it.
Thank you.
You're gonna push the inputs and VGA button.
Okay.
See where it says mic 1?
Right.
Go ahead and touch that, yep. Touch it again.
Touch it.
There you go.
Okay.
Now you type in whatever you want.
Okay.
And then when you're done, what button do you think you would have to push?
Apply.
There you go. You push apply and you're in.
Okay.
So let's just backspace and change it to 2 just to show you. And then hit apply.
Okay.
Boom, you're done. See how I changed it?
Okay.
I can see what happens. Sometimes we'll have
It's on me now.
Different people on the same mic.
yeah. Well, the problem is we'll have the singers come up, and each Sunday they may grab a different mic. So if we have them labeled by name, that may not, Megan may not have handheld 3, she might have handheld 1.
Now, there's
So
another
we're
thing.
changing-
Sorry, Troy, I'm gonna just a minute here. That's another thing. If I'm running sound here, I'm having a meeting with my musicians, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure the same person is on the same mic every
Right.
Sunday. Now, I may not be able to pull that off, but one of my goals as a sound man is to make that happen. Why? Because I'm gonna make less mistakes up here. If I have 5 people on a different mic each time, changing all the time, I'm gonna continue to make more mistakes up here because I can't remember. So that's something you would want to have a conversation with.
Okay.
If you can. I'm just giving you
Well, we can
my
have a
opinion.
conversation.
Yeah.
So something that we kind of understood.
Or you have a sound man with that group, and they always run the same group. Consistency is the key. Where you run into mistakes is if one sound man runs this group one Sunday, takes 3 weeks off, comes back and is working with another group on another Sunday, you're never going to have this thing nailed down then. You're always, because you're asking too much of the person up here as a volunteer. Because it's a non-paid position, okay? So it's a complete and utter challenge to make that happen, especially for somebody like her who has 30 minutes experience on this console. I have 300 hours on this console. I'm having those
It all
meetings
got it.
because if people are complaining or things are getting shut off and not turned on and all that, that's probably one of the biggest reasons. You don't have consistency between the musicians, and you don't have consistency between them and the sound people. Sound person is just as important as the musician up there.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. And the problem with sound people is that we're referees. The only time we're ever noticed is when somebody's ticked off.
All right.
When things are great, we're not noticed. Okay.